Having a fantastic start to your Friday and the first month of August. Who would have thought? 6 more weeks and summer will be gone. But the work doesn't stop. 1 second. All right. We're going to have a frank conversation this morning because people need to understand what we're trying to tell them and what we've been trying to tell them for the last 2 years. Hold on 1 second. Okay. All right. For the past 2 years, I've told y'all that if you want success in this country, the current Congress setup has to go. And what I mean is everybody got to go. All 435 representatives, all 100 senators, they have to go, even if you like them. They don't care about you. They don't care about this country. They just care about their bank accounts. They're caring about the access they can get. And I watch a lot of people, even you MAGA trolls, I watch y'all on social media all the time bitching about these congressmen and congresswomen that are doing nothing. And instead of doing something about it, your stupid ass watches Americans vote them back in. Because you think because their seat was on the line that they're going to do better the next time. They know you're dumb. I'm giving you an avenue to let them continue thinking you're dumb. But in the end, you still win. But you don't want to take it. They sent Congress home early because they wanted to vote on releasing the files. Then Chuck Schumer comes outside talking about, we found a loophole that's going to compel Trump to release the files. They don't care about the victims. They care about 2026. Because regardless of what comes out, they don't lose. If there's stuff in there that's going to implicate Trump, all they have to do is say we're going to impeach him. Democrats just got revived. If there's nothing in those files, they can go around and say, see, we exhausted everything we could do. See, we actually do care. Democrats get revived. They can't lose. And you idiots sit up here all day trying to get after congressmen because you're too low information to attack them on issues. You attack them because they made a TV appearance. Or you sit on X all day, 12 to 15 hours, so you can have a paycheck. But today we're going to prove how dumb you guys are. And also what I said last year is very apropos, as you can see what's on the screen. I told y'all last year and the beginning of this year, Byron Niles has no shot to win Florida. People said I was crazy. I said, okay. Tell me why a woman that's not even in the race is leading this man in polling. When we played that speech, when that reporter asked that question to DeSantis about Byron, and he said he has no wins in this state. He can't even win in DC. He basically told y'all, if y'all elect him governor, everything that we've done here, no matter how you look at it, is going to get rolled back, and we're going to be one of the worst states again. Even though they kind of are now, but we're going to give this Satan today, just for today, for about 2 minutes, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt that he's improved Florida. We'll give it to him. So this is from a Florida newspaper, the Bradenton Times. New poll shows Casey DeSantis and Byron Donalds a statistical tie for GOP race for governor. Again, she's not even in the race. First Lady Casey DeSantis and U.S. Representative Byron Donalds, now the L means she a libertarian, but okay. A new survey, I mean left and right, but you know, they say sometimes she a libertarian, which I think is bullshit, but you know, it's okay. A new survey of nearly 800 Florida Republican voters shows Casey DeSantis with a slight lead over Byron Donalds in the race for the GOP gubernatorial primary election taking place next year. Donalds soars to a 15-point lead over the First Lady in Florida, though when the poll is narrowed down to Republican voters who voted in the last GOP primary election. The University of North Florida's Public Opinion Research Lab shows DeSantis leading Donalds 32 to 29%. Now remember, when we went over this the last time, there were people in Florida that didn't even know Byron Donalds was an elected official. Keep that in mind as we go forward. Another 8% say they support former Panhandle U.S. Representative Matt Gaetz. 2% support Miami Mayor Francis Suarez, and 1% back Agricultural Commissioner Wilton Simpson. 7% of Republicans polled say they would vote for someone else, while 18% say they don't know who they would vote for. Several polls of GOP voters released this year showed the First Lady is competitive with Donalds, a third-term U.S. representative from Southwest Florida, even though she has not announced if she will seek the nomination. However, some of those previously released polls show that when voters are informed that Donalds has been endorsed by President Donald Trump, his lead over DeSantis grows exponentially. Keep that in mind, too. Casey DeSantis was an early favorite when we asked about this in fall of 2023 with 22%, ahead of Donalds with 9%. And 40% undecided. But after Trump's endorsement of Donalds, as we get closer to August 2026, DeSantis' lead has all but disappeared. Now inside the margin of error for this poll, said Dr. Michael Bender, UNF Pearl faculty director and professor of political science. And Bender says among Republicans who voted in 2022 primary election, Donalds is actually 15 points ahead of Mrs. DeSantis. It's likely those same folks will be the ones voting next August, so this race might not actually be as close as it appears. So their race is in August. I kept saying November 3rd. That's even better. Imagine if she jumps in and he loses. Fuck, he's gonna have to deal with that, plus he's gonna have to still run his other race to keep his seat. Shit, this is gonna be fun. The 90 damnings of Donalds. That's what we're going to call it. Casey DeSantis has refused to say whether she'll run for governor to succeed her husband, Ron DeSantis, when he is term limited out of office. She has faced extensive negative media coverage this year regarding Hope Florida, an initiative she spearheaded that is designed to help Floridians move off government assistance by connecting them to a clearinghouse of services offered by nonprofits and faith-based communities. The Hope Florida Foundation, a nonprofit behind the program, has been under scrutiny for months following reports that it gave $10 million from Medicaid settlement with a giant managed care plan to 2 nonprofits. The nonprofits then directed the taxpayer dollars to a political committee chaired by the governor's then chief of staff to campaign against a proposed constitutional agreement that would have legalized recreational marijuana. While the diversion of Medicaid money to lobby against the marijuana amendment made headlines throughout the 2025 session, it isn't resonating with the GOP base. According to the survey, 63% of GOP respondents said they have never heard of the Hope Florida Foundation, with 23% indicating a favorable opinion, just 6% unfavorable. Two-thirds of Florida Republicans have not heard of the Hope Florida Foundation, closely linked to a recent major scandal for the DeSantis camp, said Dr. Sean Frieder, UNF professor of political science, in a press release accompanying survey results. While their lack of knowledge helps Casey DeSantis now, the Donalds campaign and others are sure to campaign on the scandal, and as Republican voters learn more, she's likely to lose some support. The poll also shows that Florida Republicans generally support eliminating property taxes for homeowners and oppose a potential 2026 ballot measure legalizing recreational cannabis. The survey of 797 active Florida Republicans was conducted between July 14th and 22, with a margin of error of plus or minus 3.9%. So again, she's not even in the race. She's not even active, and she's getting, they giving her wins. And I didn't even factor in the Democrat Dooley. I didn't even factor him in. They're saying they'll vote for him over Donald. Damn. So there's that. Now let's go over to Texas. Now, as y'all know, Wheels ain't going to be able to run for a third term because he's being term limited. The Texas GOP is retarded. We're just going to call it what it is. They're talking about redistricting the map so they can get 5 extra seats. I don't think they realize that they're opening themselves to a destruction in that state and basically giving Democrats control of Texas. I don't think they understand that this measure that they're trying to do might open that door. But they think because it's Texas, they think that it can't happen. We've seen stranger things happen in this country. But okay. This was Political 10 days ago. Democratic poll warns GOP redistricting could cost Republicans up to 7 points in competitive seats. Poll by a Democratic firm found that 63% of likely voters across 22 of Texas's congressional districts think the effort to redraw lines in the GOP's favor is unnecessary. They're really just trying to send nothing but Republicans up to the Senate, state Senate, and Washington. Okay. The Donald Trump-backed mid-cycle redistricting effort in Texas is already leaving a sour taste in voters' mouths, according to a new Democratic polling memo obtained by Politico. A new poll conducted by Texas-based Z2A Research, which does polling for progressive clients, found that 63% of likely voters across 22 of Texas's congressional districts, including 41% of Republicans, think that the effort to redraw lines in the GOP's favor is unnecessary. As the state legislature cowers under order from the Trump White House, they need to know that voters are not on their side, said a memo from the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, which commissioned the poll alongside the Democratic House Majority PAC. This memo underscores the high-stakes game that parties are playing with redistricting as they battle for control of a House with a razor-thin margin. If the electorate is similar to 2024, redrawing the maps could leave Republicans with an advantage, but Democrats are hoping for a blue wave and a large backlash to Trump's policies. In the memo, the DCC accuses Republicans in the state of focusing on the redistricting effort instead of flood relief, which is another topic on the agenda for the legislature's special session, which began on Monday. 53% of the likely voters polled thought that the legislature was prioritizing redistricting over flood relief, according to the memo, while 32% did not, and 54% also thought the Texas government is doing a poor and not so good job of responding to the flood damage. The poll was conducted via a text-to-web survey of 2,449 likely 2026 voters across 22 of Texas's congressional districts. At least 100 voters were surveyed in each district, 12 of which are represented by Republicans and 10 of which are represented by Democrats. The poll's margin of error is plus or minus 2%. Sure, Nello's fair. Yeah, political's such a joke. You're right. And y'all dismiss them, and then when they get proven correct, then y'all say that, oh, they're woke. Sure. Okay. See, that's the type of ignorance that y'all take the ball off, and then the other side sneaks in and takes shit, and then y'all start complaining. Okay, that's fine. Continue to think that. Don't absorb all the information. Take only what your side says, and then you get your heart broken, and then you want to say the other side conspired to do some dumb shit. Okay, that's fine. Not a problem. After being told that the legislature has prioritized the redistricting over flood relief, 62% of the voters said they were less likely to vote for a Republican. The figure rises to 67% of independents. Remember what we tell y'all all the time about independents? And 21% of them were 2024 Trump voters, the memo said. The poll also set up some possible primaries, and across all 22 congressional districts surveyed, in no hypothetical Republican primary matchup did a congressional Republican incumbent garner more than 50% of the vote among Republican voters. The memo did not specify the exact primary matchups. So basically, if they do this, they're saying they're going to have a whole bunch of runoffs. That should be fun, right? After the midterms, if the Republicans lose, they're going to have to go deal with Texas, send all their people down there because they were in a bunch of runoffs. A state where everybody keep telling me that it's reliably red. Y'all are going to be in dogfights in probably at least 60% of those districts. You're going to have to go find out in December. Texas is going to be in limbo during ice storms. This is going to be hilarious, which is going to erode confidence going into 28. DCC Executive Director Julie Merz also wrote that the redistricting plan could backfire if Democrats have a strong year in 2026. Any new map Texas Republicans draw will almost certainly increase the number of competitive districts, thereby endangering more congressional Republican incumbents. It's basic math, Merz wrote. Ultimately, Democrats know that redrawing up to 5 seats in Texas, as well as a couple more in Ohio, hurts their chances of taking the majority. The move by Texas has also forced Democrats to weigh their own redistricting options, though most of them face more legal hurdles. It's unclear what map Texas will ultimately adopt, but drawing the Trump-requested 5 seats does lend to the possibility of a so-called dummy mander. Still, Republicans are adamant that it's doable. Don't get it. They're gonna screw their people just to try to beat Democrats. When all they have to do is just go on the issues. That's it. Okay. But anyway, let's go check out, see what's going on Twitter. I think I bookmarked something I want y'all to see. Let me see. I'm going to save that for later. Yeah, speaking of Ohio, y'all going to like this.
Sending something out Friday through some random computer system is also disrespectful to people on this committee.
Now, this is an Ohio meeting. They talk about Ohio. Well, this guy, I think he's from Ohio, and the other guy he's talking to is Michigan, and they were talking about what was it? It was some memo about, I think it had to do with the illegals and stuff. This was funny. Y'all gotta listen to this. This is what the supply chain's still fucked up, but they worried about this.
if we're gonna pass something, why wouldn't we have an intelligent conversation that says, hey, I'm the co-sponsor of the bill. That says, hey, this is what we're looking to change, and here's what it is, and read through it, and this is why we thought about it. Let's have a thoughtful meeting. Look, if we ran businesses this way, you wouldn't have to be an entrepreneur, run for office. You'd be flat broke. This is the most absurd process I've ever seen. And again, we're talking about having faith in our institutions. If you guys think this is normal, all of you have been here too long.
Senator, we do use computers in the Senate. I know that might be kind of weird for you, but we do use those. And we send them to your staff, and my staff looks at the things that come in because it's on a markup, and we go through it. It's actually the bill that passed last session too, if I may finish, Mr. Chairman. And so this is only a change. It was a date certain as to, it was 27, I think, and instead it was changed to the term of an individual. And then let me go back to, President Trump is treated like every other member. There's no trading within 90 days. We deal with the trading.
That thing I just put on the screen, YouTube wants me to try out, whatever, I'll do it. Just type the answer in there so they can get the data. So, do that for me one time.
Issue right away, which I think is probably 95% of the problem, is the trading. And this bill, this substitute deals with it after 90 days. The president, members of the Senate, members of the House are all going to be impacted by it. And that's what passed last Congress. This is what was in the substitute via computer, as odd as that may be for you, went via computer to your office.
He needs to stop drinking, by the way. This guy's hand keeps shaking. He really needs to stay off the wine. I know they got good wine in D.C., I know. But that'd be nice.
Your staff had a chance to look at. This is a minor change. That's what we're talking about.
Before we're going to be disdainful of the point, we got the substitute on Friday. We got the modification when we walked in. The modification is what
They're gonna Rand Paul
from the bill. It's a big change. The modification vote is what we're going to have. You're right. The substitute didn't include the president. Yes, the bill will treat Congress and the president equally in the bill with the modification. Without the modification, it treats the president immediately. We will be voting to modify the substitute to not have this bill apply to Donald Trump while he's in office. That is what the vote is before us. But I sort of resent you treating our members by saying, "Oh, you don't know about a computer." I mean, you know that.
He complained it came via computer, Mr. Chairman. I was just, I'm sorry.
Mr. Peters, if you want to have a who knows more about technology battle, let's have that battle. I know more about technology, my pinky, than you do.
Oh, okay.
Woo!
4 and 5, what the changes are.
There go them premium crackers. There you go.
Could you walk me through the changes that were made on pages 4 and 5? Because you know this bill off the top of your head.
The changes with
what's the changes on page 4?
The change is, the change that was made, my understanding is the change was just on the date.
That's incorrect.
Here we go.
So you don't know. It was delivered to you on a computer. You didn't read it over there? So what were the changes on page 5?
The date you changed.
You don't know. That's not the date. It's not true.
I got this from Senator Hawley's staff, who gave it to us, and that was the change that they said was the only change.
Now his left hand is shaking. Stay off the booze. The supply chain still messed up. They worried about who has more technological prowess. You gotta love who people elect. All right. Yeah. So there's that. Let's see what Trump said yesterday. Y'all will love this. So it came out that Trump was pissed off at Epstein for trying to take his staff. And he's still answering questions about that. But he said, not to be outdone, I'm going to say this on Wednesday. Wow, Canada has just announced that it's backing statehood for Palestine. That will make it very hard for us to make a trade deal with them. Oh, Canada. That's interesting. But you might want to be interested in this. Dmitry Medvedev, the deputy chair of the Security Council of the Russian Federation, who was also a former president, Medvedev wrote this yesterday. But we'll start with Trump's first tweet. Well, his True Social post regarding that. I don't care what India does with Russia. Now, this is in response to India saying they're not going to buy our the F-15s? They're going to go with the Chinese plane. Okay. I don't care what India does with Russia. They can take their dead economies down together for all I care. We have done very little business with India. Their tariffs are too high, among the highest in the world. Likewise, Russia and the USA do almost no business together. Let's keep it that way and tell Medvedev, the failed former president of Russia, who still thinks he's president, to watch his words. He's entering very dangerous territory. Okay. Okay. So Medvedev saw that and said, all right, about Trump's threats against me on his personal Truth social media network, which he's banned in our country. Some words from the former president of Russia triggered such a nervous reaction from the high and mighty president of the United States that Russia is doing everything right and will continue to proceed along its own path. And about India and Russia's dead economies that are entering very dangerous territory. We'll let him remember his favorite movies about The Walking Dead, as well as how dangerous the fabled Dead Hand can be. Now, for those who don't know what Dead Hand is, it's basically a computer system that if the Russian, I guess you could call it the oligarchy, but we'll be nice, the Russian administration that is in power, if they somehow all get killed, this system would activate. Now, again, this is after a strike of a nuclear variety from the US and UK against Russia. If they don't get any response from anyone in the administration, including, well, starting with Putin and working way down, that system has been programmed to launch their own missiles at the UK and the US, basically creating mutual destruction. And nobody on this earth is living no more. Because they say that you would throw 4,000 nukes at both countries. So the northern hemisphere would be done. Half of the southern hemisphere would probably be uninhabitable. But there you go. Here we go. This was from June 23rd. Did I hear former President Medvedev from Russia casually throw around the N-word, nuclear, the N-word? Okay. And saying that he and other countries would supply nuclear warheads to Iran. Did he really say that, or is it just a figment of my imagination? If he did say that, and if confirmed, please let me know immediately. The N-word should not be treated so casually. I guess that's why Putin's the boss. By the way, if anyone thinks our hardware was great over the weekend, far and away the strongest and best equipment we have, 20 years advanced over the pack, is our nuclear submarines. They are the most powerful and lethal weapons ever built and just launched the 30 Tomahawks. All 30 hit their mark perfectly. So in addition to our great fighter planes, thank you to the captain and crew. Okay. All right. Okay. Because you're in the middle of trade wars and you're sitting there threatening a superpower. I guess that's the move. Sure. Couple that with the 90,000 square foot ballroom they're building on the White House that he says is being paid with donor money. Why not? I wonder what business got first cracked to put their name over the door. But, that's going to make America great again. By the way, Naked Gun comes out today. By the way. They say Hillary and Obama conspired to stop him from winning the 2016 election. Here's my thing. Okay, let's just say they did that. Wonderful. Good. Throw him in jail. You still won, correct? So you should be flexing. He's sitting on there crying about it. But I'm just saying. He really wants Obama to come outside so he could beat him. Okay. Yeah. Look, look now they all got a hand of it. Now they all grifting. Look at it. Tim Pool grifted. That DC Drano idiot grifted. So sad. And y'all want to tell me, even the liberals grifted off of this. Y'all still want to tell me they not in cults. Okay. Both sides are in cults, but, you know. We're going to argue which one is worse. The inflation indicator just went down to 1.67, which should call signs for a recession, but they're not arguing about that. They're arguing about if the Russians tried to stop Trump in 2016. Again, he won the election, so it didn't matter. But okay. Reparation agent, who you calling a washed up whore? That's crazy. Let's see why recession is trending. Let's see. Months ago, oh, y'all gotta hear this. I showed my wife this. This was funny. Wait, was it this one? No, I think this was the response. Y'all gotta see this. And I'll play that one next because I want to hear how. Where is it? Where the fuck is it? Oh, right. It was with Shermichael. That's right. Now, Shermichael Singleton, the black Republican that they put on CNN for balance. That's what they say. He tried to play it. He tried it with that white man you just saw on the screen. Let me see, where is it? Oh, I know who had it. This account had it. Let me see, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? No, that's not it. Where is it? Because I love how they're just dissipating. Oh yeah, by the way, they say Trump hurt. They say Trump hurt, but whatever. He brought out Lawrence Taylor to this. That was crazy. And I'm gonna play y'all that Harris Faulkner clip. They are torturing that lady right now. I feel bad for her. No, I don't. Because if y'all were here long enough, y'all heard me say they was gonna get her next. It's probably not the best for her to open her mouth.
If this were not so terrifying with
No, this is not it. Damn it, where is it? Motherfucker, I might as well just go get the whole thing. Where is it? Now, if he does this, y'all gotta reconcile with it. Anyway. We'll just start with, no, I need this whole clip. Where is it? Actually, I'll just bookmark this for a minute. No. We'll bookmark that one too. All right. Oh, let me bookmark Faulkner too. I don't understand why I can't find this. Did CNN take it down? Damn, I'm gonna have to go to CNN. No, I'm not gonna go to CNN because they ain't gonna find me. Well, basically, what happened with that clip was that I'm trying to find for y'all. That old dude that you saw, Quest, I guess that's his name. I don't know his full name, but he had to explain to Shermichael Singleton that the trade deals were bullshit. And the fact that there's Democrats still running around and conservatives still running around saying how great they are. When again, all you have to do is look up in history at how Japan, Saudi Arabia, South Korea even, they never finished these deals. And every one of these deals keeps saying investment, which is just code word for we're just going to get money compounded onto the debt that we're never going to pay off. Here we go. Here it is. Finally found it.
Somebody has already described the target, right? They simply will not buy that amount of energy, and nor will they invest that amount of money. We have the deal with Japan, where nobody knows where the $650 billion worth of investment is going to come from. Nobody. The Japanese admit they don't know where it's going to come from.
Which we showed y'all that the other day. One, they never signed that deal, and number two, they're still in a recession. So how are they going to give America $650 billion? And we showed in that article that only 1 to 2% of that is actual investment. The rest is just them giving us loans, which means they're going to hold even more of our debt, even though they're still number one. They're going to get more. So we're basically propping up the Japanese economy. It's supposed to be top 5 in the world. How is this making America great again? He just put tariffs 15% on South Korea. Okay, they could still refuse not to buy our stuff. They're like, oh, they're gonna give them $100 billion in liquefied natural gas. Yeah, right. But okay.
We've got the deal announced today with the South Koreans. What Donald Trump has brilliantly done, he wanted a headline number.
Yes, he did.
It's around 15%, but the underlying terms of trade deals are garbage.
So Richard, what deal would you have preferred?
How'd you...
I told y'all. Well, Michael never heard me say it, but I say it. He should have just tariffed everybody 10% across the board. Everybody. And if he wanted to play hardball with BRICS, he could have added another 10 onto it. So BRICS nations, 20%. Everybody else, 10. Him running out there talking about, I'm going to put 145% on China because it's a negotiating tack, and I'm going to put 55% on the EU. So you're just making up numbers to scare people to come to the plate, and they actually showed you how much power they have. They said, we're not coming. We're going to stop sending stuff over there. And he had to keep pulling back on these tariffs, keep putting pauses. Right, today's August 1st. And he ran outside and said, August 1st, this is going to be a great day. Now, if you get punked today, we're going to revert back to that tweet. I'm sorry, Truth Social post. We're going to revert back to that. But go ahead.
Well, what details of the deal would suffice for you?
Well, I would have liked them to have negotiated a proper long-term deal.
Let's focus on the word proper.
Where the
What's
detail,
proper to you?
where the detail...
You keep saying this, but you're giving no specificity whatsoever. I can sit here and name a whole bunch of random ridiculousness. That means absolutely nothing at all.
No, because they've actually announced the European deal where supposedly
So give specifics about what you would like to see in an alternative. Wait a minute, Scott. Give an alternative and give specifics for what would be a deal that would satisfy your critique.
a long-term trade relationship deal that doesn't rely on a fictitious amount of investment.
Okay.
The Japan deal.
Okay.
No.
I'm listening.
The Japan deal envisages $650 billion worth of investment. But nobody says by whom or how or the penalty against. It is literally making it up.
Because
By the way, the SoftBank deal that he announced, that $100 billion, even they did one the first administration and it never went through. They did only about a tenth of it. But he went back and did it again. He's putting us in bed with the Japanese. Yeah. Okay. But y'all cool with that? Because you saw only the dollar amount. You didn't read the details. Cool. Let's see what this is.
This one,
I think I followed that. Okay, go ahead.
if this were not so terrifying, it would actually be funny how petrified Republicans are of Speaker Hakeem Jeffries. They have exploded the debt. They are taking food stamps and Social Security, the social safety net, education from American taxpayers.
I'm glad there's somebody or a group of people out there that are scared of Hakeem Jeffries, because the rest of us ain't.
And they're afraid to go home to their districts because their constituents are showing up at their town hall meetings and yelling at them. They're afraid to stay in Washington because they don't want to deal with the consequences of the Epstein scandal.
I mean, that's both sides, man. Both sides don't want to go home. That includes the Democrats. They don't want to go home. I know AOC don't want to go her district. Her district lost 20% of their value the last 4 years. She only shows up there when she needs the votes to stay in her seat. I'm sure she'll be out there stumping for Mondami. I'm sure she will. She better not, though. They'll fuck around and throw some sofrito on her.
They now control every part of the American government, Republicans, and yet they still feel they need to cheat to stay in power. So what is it that they could run on? Because again, they control every level of American government, and they still haven't delivered anything for the American people that they should be running on, and that's why they're so afraid. What do they have to offer? They control everything. They've got no one to blame.
Let me show you what the let me show you what the tech.
She called it cheating because why are you guys trying to redistrict way before an election? Why didn't that doesn't make sense? You just want to pick up seats. You're screwing yourselves. You're putting yourselves in a position where you could lose. And you'll be giving Democrats 5 seats. And they won't have to work that hard. The Political article told you, and I told you, y'all can be in a whole bunch of runoffs next November. You don't want that.
Just
It needs
redistricting is going to
redistricting
look
to try
like.
to take seats from
Let me
those.
show you what it's going to look like, because essentially, if you live in Texas, there's no such thing as a competitive district anymore if this redistricting goes into place. You go from 11 Harris districts to 8, and then Trump districts jump up to 30. It's essentially saying there's no middle ground anymore. There's no district in Texas where a Democrat and a Republican can be in pretty close competition, even though that state has had some fairly close statewide races. And they're not the only one where this is the case.
And I do.
They're gonna learn.
Richard, I am just a journalist, and all I can do is read the economic data.
It's a bit of a stretch,
3%.
Damn.
Straight deals, record high in the stock market.
The inflation is not cooling, sir. Inflation is not cooling. Cut it out.
It's actually much simpler.
Yes.
Hold on a second. It's much simpler than this. Just one second, because I think it's super important to understand.
You know what's gonna suck? Since he just said inflation is cooling, if inflation hits 3% next week when they drop those reports, I want them to hit him with that breaking news sound to tell him to get his ass on that seat, and I want him to explain why it jumped to 3%. Since he said it's cooling, I bet he's gonna say, well, it only went up 1/10 of a percentage point. Motherfucker, nobody wants to hear that. If that jobs report looked like trash, I want him on that seat trying to explain how Trump's economic policies are helping us. That's what I want to see. If that CPI report comes out and shit jumps maybe 0.3 of a percentage point, I want him in that seat trying to explain how those bullshit tariff deals he pulled, how that's supposed to help the economy. I want him to explain that. I want him to explain how we're so close to a recession by Christmas, which is going to fuck everything else up, because what is the one thing that they love to raise during Christmas time? Heating rates. They do it every year. I want him to explain how Americans are going to be sitting up there in December complaining that they can't afford their heat bill. There's going to be a run on space heaters. I want him to explain that to us. I have a sneaking suspicion that jobs report is going to look like crap. I have a sneaking suspicion.
I think I followed that.
Now, I also alluded to this. Harris Faulkner got cooked. And the funny thing about her getting cooked, even the conservatives weren't defending her. Now, this dude over here, well, I'll pull out, pause. This dude is a Democrat. He's a liberal, right? Listen to this exchange, and then we're going to look at the comments. Black conservatives, when we read these comments, you're going to understand what we've been telling y'all for years. They don't like y'all. They don't like y'all.
Who do you think this really does come down to having to impress the American people right now? Is your party, like, you guys are not all moving in concert with one another?
No, I mean, we lost the last election, so we're having a lot of tough conversations about how we build a new Democratic Party. That'll keep happening until we elevate a new candidate. What I'll tell you, though, is I think both political parties are completely out of touch with the day-to-day lives of most Americans.
You know how you fix that problem? Everybody go independent. That's how you fix that problem. The Democrats know exactly what people need. They won't do it because then they're going to be held accountable to the people, not their donors, not the corporations. Corporations don't care. We've already outlined, again, on this channel many times. These corporations give money to both sides. They can't lose.
There's a lot of polling out in the last couple of weeks talking about how frustrated people are with inflation and pricing and housing and things like that.
Inflation's at 2%.
Did you hear what this broad just said? We're going to play it again.
Talking about how frustrated people are with inflation and pricing and housing and things like that.
Inflation's at 2%.
This broad just said inflation's at 2%. I guess she doesn't realize that there's a difference between 2% and 2.7%. Well, now it's 2.9%. I think she thinks there's no difference. She'd be the type to think that if there was an earthquake that was 7, and then a couple weeks later you had another one that was 7.1, she would think there's no difference.
The GDP
Well,
just
inflation's at
popped.
2.9% actually, Harris. It's two.
The GDP just popped to 3%. I mean, we haven't seen.
Ma'am, oh Lord. Okay, we'll explain this to Harris. This is why you're an anchor, and this is why you're not put in charge of a team. You just read a teleprompter. Madam, GDP went up because these companies all bought extra supplies in January when Trump was threatening the tariffs the first time. Hell, they started buying up in December. They're going through the last of that stock. The shit is going to get worse. Q3 may look very bad, which will spark more recession talk, which could strike an actual announced recession. Then what are y'all gonna say? You want to go into a recession, into a midterm election? I want to see how y'all work yourselves out of that. I'd be curious.
Not in a very long time.
If I could point you to Fox's own polling, Trump is negative 30% on pricing and the inflation. It's as unpopular as Joe Biden ever was. So the American people are pretty.
And the reason he's unpopular is because he sat there on the campaign trail and said, the first day I'm going to end the wars, second day I'm going to bring grocery prices down. Then said, it looks like it's going to be very difficult to bring them down. And you think people forgot that he said that? You can go look up the articles right now. Trump grocery prices. He said it's going to be very difficult. Yeah, you watching MAGA sitting up there like, look, egg prices are down. Yes, because he imported those fucking eggs. That's why. He didn't give money to our domestic farmers to aid in the production that they were forced to destroy under Biden. No, he just had them imported. But y'all cool with that. Because you only saw the numbers. You didn't look at the details.
Frustrated with where their lives are right now. There's a Navigator poll out just this morning or yesterday that has a lot of Americans saying they're worse off than they were 6 months ago.
Because they think Americans don't go and shop every day. They're not in them stores looking at these prices. See, it's easy to get fooled when you look up on Instacart. They fool you. Because they already tack on extra costs on everything you buy. Because they need to get their money. Go in them stores. If it ain't a store brand, it went up. Ain't no soy sauce in the world that is cheaply made worth no $3.99. Ain't no way in the world. The store brand, they trying to charge $2.99. Y'all are insane. But let's look at these comments one time. Trump's 2% inflation fantasy collides with his 2,800 tariff tax hitting households August 1st. Admin claims victory while Americans face highest appliance prices in 5 years. Textbook gaslighting from a president whose approval on prices plunged 30 points since January. The numbers don't lie. 60% home price surge since 2019 requires $126,000 income just for mortgages, while Trump guts $33 billion from housing programs. 94% of Americans now rate housing unaffordable, worse than 2008 crash levels. His tariff obsession created this crisis as Fox pundits still peddle mission accomplished economic lies. When historians write about this admin, they'll call it the great betrayal of middle-class America, which we told y'all last year that he don't care about the middle class. Even though MAGA told us that he's going to rebuild it. Okay, motherfucker. Andy, I was there paying them prices, retard. Yeah, and I said shit about them too. Try again. Here we go. Now we're going to go blame Biden. Sir, I spent 4 years shitting on Biden on this channel. And if you need confirmation, people are in there that have been here. We were doing lives every week shitting on Biden. We did lives every week shitting on Kamala Harris. I did lives shitting on Obama. So try again. Don't give me that Trump was in here for 7 months. Because if Kamami won this election and she pulled this stuff, y'all would be saying impeach her. I don't hear y'all saying impeach Trump. What kind of reception would she have gotten if she said, I'm going to tariff all these countries at them Trump levels, and then she started pulling back? Y'all would say she's incompetent. Get out of here. Mr. 90 deals in 90 days. And all I seen is really 2 or 3 and the rest are frameworks. But okay, you gonna tell me about Biden and Obama. Obama gave money to them damn banks and them damn automakers when he should have let them fold. And the day he gave them that money, the day they said, hey, government, we bigger than you, F you. Now you got Ford out here talking about they about to lose all their profit because they wanted to sit there and screw with Trump on them tariffs. Sitting there in February talking about them tariffs about to make us great. Now they talking about they losing $2 billion. Yeah. Okay. You got anything else you want to tell me about Obama and Biden? Naturally, Faulkner needs to step in and interrupt in case viewers would see this. Well, she couldn't because it was already clipped. Inflation is closer to 3 than 2. Correct. It's always funny when they get B's slapped by their own polling. No, there's one problem with this statement. I agree with what you said, but there's one problem. They'll be the same ones that say that polling don't matter. Because remember, when Trump was getting killed in polling, they said that polling was woke and it was just a bunch of Democrats hating on him. Second Rasmussen came out and said that he was great. They said, oh, polling is accurate. Okay. Nelly is full of ish. How? But okay. I like how they just say stuff. I'm sure the comments were beautiful in this. Morning, Johnny. Yeah, me too. It's a fun dance to watch. Maybe it should be hosted in a new ballroom. They bring on a Democrat but don't want the audience to hear the truth. I thought y'all was supposed to spank the Democrat. The reason she couldn't come back on it because she thought he was going to bring up some CNN poll. And then she would be like, CNN, you trust CNN? And he said Fox News. She ain't had no response. The teleprompter couldn't even figure out real quick. Oh, shit. What should we type in there? %2 inflation, $9 eggs. I don't know where you at. Then eggs are still $9, but goddamn. Negative 30% approval, and the whole network still acting like that's a win. Math clearly left the chat. No, it's that they like him this week. The only reason MAGA watches CNN because they have Shermichael on there. They think Shermichael is going to be the one to educate everybody. And Shermichael's stay getting stomped. But, you know. I can't speak for everyone, but I'm definitely worse off than I was 6 months ago. Mass layoff at my job because of tariffs. Groceries are through the roof. It's expensive. 14,000 manufacturing jobs were lost in April. Manufacturing. Regardless of what they claim inflation is, my grocery bill keeps rising like never before. We can't afford the Trump regime. Now, they're going to tell you this is Biden's fault. It's both their fault. This is Biden's budget. This is Trump's policies. I'm calling this the epoxy economy. Fox News hosts getting owned by their own Fox News polls on live TV. Poetic. She couldn't end that one quick enough. Funny how they round down from 2.7% to 2% when it's a Republican president. So these clowns like to make up numbers. 0, 1, 2, everything but the damn truth. Well, that's what they do with them crime stats, but you know. Nelly is brain dead. Even though he told you where to get the information from, but okay. She's totally right. The problem is Trump told his base that prices were going down when in reality inflation was simply at a normal level. People don't get that, and the frustration is evident in the polls. 2% is not normal. You want optimal inflation, you have to get it under 1. But but that's contingent on things being made and produced here and people being able to buy it, and a balance between import export. But they're not telling you that. We're importing every damn thing. And these other countries are saying, we don't really need your exports. We can just go get it from another country and not pay those fees. But, you know. Inflation is at a normal level. Okay. Any economist you ask will tell you an optimal inflation rate is between 0.5 and 1%. Any one of them will tell you that. But, you know, 2% is okay. This is new normal. Remember, this is post-pandemic, so everything is a new normal. Well, the crime rates, we can't blame on him because those numbers haven't come out yet, but the FBI already said that those numbers were up, though they had to be revised. We went over that on the channel. But, you know, new normal. New normal. Faulkner, tariffs are up though, silly. And the customs duties, but, you know, they won't tell you that. Inflation is 2.7%. That's closer to 3 if you're going to round out, and it's up 0.3% year over year. It's heading the wrong direction. Unless Trump tacos out on his August deadline, it's just going to climb. Well, by the way, let's see how that Dow Jones is doing today. Maybe it'll start in the green. Let's see. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm over here. Oh, baby, down 549 points and just open. That's crazy. That's crazy. Woo! Democrats don't have a leg to stand on. Please, I want y'all to go in there with that attitude. Please. Y'all going to embolden them to go insane and try to flip that House and Senate. Please. All y'all gotta listen, you Republicans, again, all y'all gotta do is get the economy better. You can't lose. That's it. Y'all are gonna seriously sit up there and show us you're gonna spend the next 15 months just shitting on Democrats. That's not gonna win. Nobody wants to hear crap about the Democrats when y'all are in power and things are going up. They're going to blame y'all for that. I need y'all to stop doing that. This is why I titled the live the way I did. That comment right there encapsulates why I said everybody gotta go. I'm telling you, you got somebody in your district right now that wants to fight for you. Not named Sheldon Daniels, because he's nothing but a I want to go fight Hollywood coon. I'm telling y'all, it's somebody in your district that wants to fight for y'all in D.C. or in your state legislature. Y'all won't go vote them out because the person that's in that seat right now is a personality. And you want credit for putting them in and none of the accountability when they screw up. You want to be able to blame somebody else. Great, you're right. A lot of Democrat counties aren't reporting crimes. There's a lot of Republican ones that aren't reporting them too. FBI been told y'all that their data is incomplete because everyone around the country is not submitting data. But all right. Why y'all cussing out the Nightbot? Jesus. Do I have to get rid of the Nightbot? I'll do it. I'll let y'all answer that. I'll get rid of the Nightbot. That's crazy. Oh no, the jobs report came out today. Oh Lord, I gotta see this. Oh Lord. I was figuring since it was the first, they would probably wait till next week. But I guess they said screw it. U.S. stocks sank on Friday after President Trump officially hit virtually every U.S. trading partner with sweeping tariff hikes, while the June's job report showed signs of a labor market slowdown. Son of a... Okay. Dow Jones dipped 1.4%, or nearly 600 points. S&P fell roughly 1.5%, with the two gauges both set for weekly losses over 2.5%. The tech-heavy NASDAQ sank around almost 2%, on track for its own weekly loss of over 2%, despite earnings reports from major tech firms that beat expectations. They don't give a shit. People are losing money on these stocks. The retreat in stocks came as the July jobs report released Friday. It shows weaker than expected job growth, with the economy adding some 73,000 jobs versus 104. Son of a... You're off 31,000 jobs. Unemployment's up 4.2%. The prior two readings were also revised down sharply, indicating the labor market has been slowing down over the past 3 months. Damn. That's crazy. The surprise cracks in the labor market will be closely watched by the Federal Reserve, whose preferred inflation gauge on Thursday showed signs of increasing price pressures. The yield on the benchmark 10-year Treasury dived following the jobs data as traders ramped up bets on interest rates cut this year. Jesus Christ. Well, there you go. There's one report down. That CPI next week, boy. That CPI and PPI is going to be something. We're going to be here. I might do a pre-recorded video on that. But Lord have mercy. Let me see if it adjusted itself. Okay, it's creeping back up a little bit. Okay. So was that 700 at one point? Son of a... When was it 700? Or is CNBC lying again? I mean, they had Jim Cramer cursing, so maybe they was lying. Non-farm payrolls expanded by 73,000, well beneath the consensus estimate from economists polled by Dow Jones that called for 100,000 increase. June job growth totaled just 14,000. What the prior months, June job growth totaled just 14,000, down from 147,000. May count came down to 19,000 from 125. Saying the labor market has been weakening for a while. Well, no shit. Shares of Amazon tumbled more than 7% after the e-commerce giant provided light operating income guidance for the current quarter. Well, of course, Apple was up 2%. They dropped their iPhone. They dropped their iPhone data, and it came in very good. Consumer sentiment improved slightly in July, while inflation fears continued to recede, according to the University of Michigan's latest survey released Friday. The headline sentiment rose to 61%, up 1.6% monthly, still down 7.1% from a year ago, but roughly in line with the Dow Jones consensus. On inflation, the one-year outlook dipped to 4.5%, while the 5-year view fell to 3.4%, both the lowest range since February. Let's see. Is it ticking back up? Okay, it's ticking back up. You know what's going to happen? They're going to tell some big firm to drop their earnings to boost it up a little bit. That's crazy. 73,000 jobs. Let me see. Let me see what they're saying about the jobs report on here. Gavin Newsom. There you go. July jobs report way below expectations. May and June revised down as well. Unemployment rate ticked back up to 4.2%. We haven't seen conditions like this since 2020. Don't let Donald Trump gaslight you. He's failing America as a crash in our economy. I'm sure the comments were beautiful in here. Breaking a weak jobs report. The U.S. economy added only 73,000 jobs in July. That's way below expectations. May and June revised down by 258,000. Unemployment rate ticks up to 4.2%. This is fake news. That's what they're going to say. What's missing in the jobs report is the jobs lost are foreign-born and government workers, while native-born workers continue to make exceptional gains in real wage growth under Trump. Yes, stupid. Of course it's going to be a real wage growth. They didn't have the fucking job. They didn't have the job, so of course it's going to look like wage growth, you idiot. Boy. After the latest jobs report, the black unemployment has surged again this month to 7.2%, the highest it has been since 2021 post-coffee venereal disease. Why are you mentioning FBA? Jesus, this motherfucker, I swear, he on his knees all day for y'all. One of y'all got to get this man some pussy. Jesus Christ. I'm finna tell him that. Fuck it. Jesus. You need to get some pussy, boy. Fuck it. It's Friday. It's the first of the month, right? Might as well just tell him. The hell with it. Maybe he'll block me after this. Just don't act like a tenor when you talk. There you go. So I said, you need FBA pussy that bad? Is this your bad signal to them? They don't bite. Just don't act like a tether when you talk. That's all I said. Now he gonna get mad at me. Which I don't give a fuck. Unsurprising bad jobs report. So all the Democrats are jumping on this. Now, we can't respect CNN because y'all was just kissing his ass last month with the polling. We can't trust y'all, but we're going to let you talk. Go ahead.
Both May and June. In May, originally, the government said the economy added 144,000. Now, 19,000.
I hope y'all heard what he just said. So they went six figures. They went all the way to the low fives. That's crazy.
That is a major revision. This is the biggest revisions we've seen since COVID. June was originally at 147. Now it's just at 14,000. You can see.
Remember last year I was telling y'all, and the year before that we were fighting with people saying, where are these jobs? I'm telling y'all that everywhere I was going, people were only hiring part-timers. I'm trying to get this tech job. I'm in a tech Discord. They're all in there trying to get into these tech jobs. Nobody's hiring. They're all doing suspect shit, getting them all hyped up and then saying no. There you go. I told y'all how food service they're slowing down. They rather hire internally. It's rough out here, but them folk over there try to tell you that everything's great.
See it on that bar chart there. June was the worst since December of 2020. I just talked to Joe Bruce-Willis, who's the chief economist over at RFM. He said, this report that we just got, when you look at the July numbers and the revisions, he says this is the major economic report we've gotten since the end of the pandemic era.
They're gonna blame Ice Cream Joe for this. I'm telling you right now, by Sunday, they're going to blame Biden for this. They're not gonna take accountability. They're going to blame Biden. They're finally gonna figure out that the outgoing president makes the last budget that the first president has to follow. They're gonna blame him.
Report is really going to shed more light that this was a very weak report. The revisions, certainly to May and June, are very concerning. I'm surprised unemployment is just at 4%.
It wasn't concerning if you heard people tell you the truth. It was not concerning. We knew this was coming. The head in the cloud assholes were the ones that were selling you copium and hopium. Actually, I said that wrong. They sold you hopium. Now they're going to sell you copium. They're nothing but digital drug dealers. None of them are going to tell you the truth. The man never had a plan. He just wanted to get back in office because he wanted 8 years like everybody else. The last 30 years. 40 years, I should say. We got to count Reagan. He didn't want to be in the same breath as goddamn Bush Daddy. And he wanted to be over Biden. That's the only reason why he ran again.
4.2%. I know that, they're looking at that number, but they need to look at the whole picture. We do see a softening market. Now, there are jobs out there. I know you did ask me about that. There's still opportunities, like some of the hottest jobs, nurse practitioners, physician assistants, data scientists, analyst roles. But these are
jobs that they require you to already have experience in. We're talking at least 2-3 years. Of course, they're going to need nurse practitioners. People are getting sick even more now. Of course, they need data scientists. They're moving everything into AI, especially now with Trump announcing that he's going to follow the UK's example and put medical records into a digital database. And you're going to have to probably create an actual virtual wallet with all your health information in that. So they're going to circumvent HIPAA laws. Somebody steals your phone, they're going to have your medical information. The United States of the UK.
really skilled, high-level positions. These are the top occupations
That most people don't have.
that are growing, and we need to get more people into these fields.
Y'all don't want them in them fields unless you're controlling it.
Pay 6 figures, but a lot of those entry-level positions, Maria, are going away. So I am concerned about...
Because he outsourced them to the Middle East. And that trade deal he did with the Middle East, excuse me, is going to come out in the next 18 months. That's what he did. He told all them tech people, listen, all them entry-level positions, send them over there because we're going to make more money off of it. We'll get to collect all the money and no digital rights. That's why he got pissed off at Canada for trying to raise up that digital rights fee. Now, if you send it over there, it's an American company. You ain't got to pay the digital rights. The money's already in an American account. They not slick with it, but they're going to tell you this is business.
Market that we need to get more people in trades and in skilled roles.
He's These assholes were not talking about trades during the election. Oh, man. Family, the Griff is beautiful. The Griff is beautiful. They saw all our videos promoting the plumbers, the painters, shout out to Strong Dad, putting out the small business owners, the construction, especially with them ICE raids. Now all of a sudden they want to promote trade. I tell you this, the first tradesman that runs in 2026 and wins, they will be a god.
The jobs are.
Well, for sure. And I think, you know, to discuss the healthcare, the marriage of
Shut up,
healthcare and
Maria.
technology is huge. And that is creating lots of jobs.
Nene, it's not that they trust them. They like Trump because he's making them money, not realizing that that money is not forever. I guarantee you there's plenty of people right now calling up their financial institutions and their investment bankers finding out what the hell is going on. They're looking at Trump like the golden goose. They want him to keep laying golden eggs and using his name to prop up their own portfolios. Not realizing that in a few years, that's going to wear off completely. He's still going to be who he is because he's a name, he's a brand. The rest of y'all are going to be in purgatory. They trusted Trump. He couldn't even ban TikTok correctly. They trusted Trump. He can't even get the price of bread down. Ain't no way in the world bread should be $3. Nowhere in the world. Well, I shouldn't say the world. I'm talking about our world. There's no way. You go to other countries, a loaf of bread is $1 at most. There's bread on the shelf right now. They trying to charge $5.50 for it. Panera Bread. They in there. They bake their own bread. They charging $6 for a loaf. Ain't no way in the world. Publix selling their iced tea for $4 for a gallon. That should be no more than $2.50. I don't know how the hell Kroger's selling their gallon of milk for $2.60 something. I don't know how they doing it. They the mafia. Organic milk should be somewhere between $4.79. That motherfucker charges $6. And I want MAGA to notice, and I'm getting up out of here. Notice this man didn't say nothing about no jobs the last couple months. He talking about all these deals. He ain't talking about no jobs. If you get back all this money, you should be reinvesting that in jobs. Explain to us, Trump, and I wish I was in that room. I'd be like, how in the hell do you have all these ports on the East Coast and they're not operating at full efficiency, including New York, that is one of the weakest ports on the Eastern Seaboard, yet they service the most people? Explain that to me. I bet you can. But that's all right. Anyway, y'all. Hopefully you learned something. If you did, I done my job. If not, I try to be better next time. Haha, we're not gonna dress you because you can't even spell ass. So, you know, you came late. I'm sure you're probably painting somebody else's whatever the fuck you'd be painting. You were probably painting the concrete. That's what it was. It's okay. We're gonna let you go back to that and stay cool because we actually care. We don't want nobody dying of heat exhaustion. So go back to painting the concrete. Make sure you watch out for the cracks because that's just wasted paint. The rest of y'all enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the first day of August. Stay cool. If you're in a cold climate, stay warm. And check on the old and the young. And if you're in the South, school's about to start soon. Make sure you got your supplies for your kids because you can't have them going to school first day and they lacking. Can't have that. Can't have that. So anyway, y'all take care, stay safe, and you know what to do when the agents of chaos come to mess up your existence.